Hello guys, welcome to my channel for new battle report. This is the first game of ETC 2021 Novi Sad. We are facing Poland. A tough draw to start the tournament, but very interesting one. Always a very nice and interesting challenge to face Poland because they are very competitive guys with solid lists, so I was really happy to face them. So I'm facing myself Lapa, very friendly guy. We had a blast, very cool game, very enjoyable, very interesting and tactical. So yeah, thanks a lot Lapa, if you're watching this. Thanks a lot again for the battle. It was really a pleasure to face you, and congrats for you ETC. I saw that you made a very high amount of points, one of the top Polish player during this tournament, so congrats to you. My list, you saw it already in the tournament introduction, so go watch this video if you haven't yet. My opponent's list, so he was playing a Prophet, Seat of Authority, Master Pyro, a Vizier BSB with a 3-up, a Breath, the Toxic Breath, sorry. Then he has Flame of the East on Great Weapon, and a Blunderbuss, an Adept with Ranger Boost that can chaff if needed, 24 Warrior with a Legend Standard, so you have a very solid static res with this unit of basically 5 ranks and then 2 standard, so +7 is quite solid. 40 Levies, Spear Shield Bow, Flaming Standard, able to put token from distance and also do some damage with reroll to wound from flaming. 20 Levies, 6 Incarnate Champion, 4 Anointed Paired Weapon Musician, 2 War Machines, 1 time the Rocket Battery, which is quite good against the Ogre, and then a Titan Mortar that is very versatile and very good. I really like this artillery piece, Titan Mortar. Obviously a Bastion to go with the Blunderbuss unit, 2 Kadim Chariots to have some countercharge pieces, and 5 Vassal Cavalry. So you see as well here, he uses plenty of the Flaming Synergy between 3 units of Vassal that can put token, and then Flaming Close Combat, Flaming damage from distance, also Flaming Sword that can be useful in combat, for example, and then a Kadim Chariot that have tons of flaming attack as well. So I think great synergy, great list here, very solid from distance. Also not so easy to push because close combat you have the Bastion that is almost unbreakable, at least on the first round of combat. It's impossible to break him straight away, almost. And then you have some very good element that can countercharge and counter the pressure, especially Incarnate and Anti-Chariot. They charge quite far away, so it's not easy to push this list, and then he has decent range damage. So well built, I would say. Then spell selection. So I didn't take Hereditary, but I took Swarm, Totemic Summon, Break the Spirit, +1 Toughness of Strength, Rod of Battle, and then I have Chilling Roll. I hesitated, debated a little bit, should I take double Chilling or not? Then I considered the fact that since he could start, potentially we could see some combat, and then maybe if I take double Chilling plus Swarm plus Totemic Summon, this leaves me with only 2 combat buff, which is not a lot. So I debated a little bit, and that's why I took 1 and 6, thinking also they can do something from distance, because with +1 toughness you can protect a unit a little bit, and with -1 to hit you can also protect as well from distance. So I thought, yeah, all my spells, 5 of my 6 spells have utility from distance as well, so that's why I picked that. And my opponent, he took Wheel Turn, Deceptive Glamour, and then the 3 Blast plus Flaming Sword. So my analysis of the matchup has some good range damage, solid close combat with enough mobile threat that can charge far away. Shamanist should hurt his War Machine. That was I faced Shamanist multiple times with War Machine shooting, and I was surprised how well it can shut down magic and shooting sometimes. Master Pyro plus Incendiary Token is really scary combo, can do a lot, because reroll to wound with Pyro gets scary if you don't have so much armor, and that's my case. Bastion unit in close combat versus my Bruiser or Merc can be a very dangerous fight for both of us, I think. Obviously my Great Khan is scary for him, also the amount of attack that I have, but then the fact that he can ult and countercharge is also a problem for me, since he has multiple pieces that can countercharge, cannot charge everything basically. My range damage, that was my thought process for the game, can pick some points, I think, between Insect, the shots, Cannon, Crossbow, and Totemic Summon, plus as well the Keen Eater, I should be able to pick the War Machines and maybe threaten as well the Chariot and the Chaff, so that's some amount of point. And I thought he might shoot at my big unit but might struggle to finish them off really. That's why I put an estimation of 11 before the game. Deployment, so it was quite interesting. We play King of the Hill and Frontline Clash. I picked the side, I won the roll for side, so I picked bottom because if you see we have two impassable here, a hill here, a field and a water train. So basically it's down to picking the water train or the field, and I thought by picking bottom basically it make harder to attack this part of the train and it's easier to defend that one rather than the field, especially considering the fact that I'm going to play second. So I pick bottom, also like the fact that I have a forest to hide some unit within to minimize a little bit the amount of range damage that he might do against me. So I picked bottom, and then my opponent, without surprise, deployed everything to start the game. So he put 900 unit here in the back, Incarnate, somehow here in the back to make sure that he can minimize my shooting in return, because this unit might be sensitive to panic check since it's completely out of the bubble. So here we have Anointed, Incarnate, hidden behind the Impassable. Somehow they mitigate the fact that it's an impassable because they can move through with Ghost Step. A Chariot, second Chariot here, Vassal Block, Rocket Battery, Titan Mortar, Mage Bunker, Bastion Unit, and the Chaff Piece here in the back. And my counter deployment was the following: so Trapper, put a trap on the field and then move slightly back within range of the general. I put some Bruiser on the right to force the Chariot to look at me on the right. Then I have Tribesman and a Bruiser unit within the forest to gain some cover. And here I put all my units on the left outside of the range of the War Machines, basically to make sure that he cannot shoot them turn 1. So classic minimization of the damage output that he might do with range on turn 1. Basically I have nothing interesting. You don't see them out of range with them, and these two are within cover, so that should make sure that Rocket Battery doesn't do too much. And this is really the scary piece of artillery against me, because some multiple wound might do a lot against my big block. So yeah, that's it. You have the BSB here, so I have 18 to the Trappers, that I have 12 to General, so that's a classic cannon here in the back, Frosty in the back, and the Yeti just Vanguard slightly more forward here on the left. And obviously Keen Eater in ambush. Let's go with turn 1. He pushes forward, but just move back with the Anointed to make sure I cannot shoot him turn 1, which is smart, because I could cause an early panic check, so he just move back with them. The Incarnate stayed behind the rock, just to make sure they stay intact and can move out later in the game, and he start to push with the Bastion and as well the Vassal. Chariot just look towards my Bruiser to make sure I cannot push on the right, and the Chaff moved forward here. In the magic phase, let me check my note. I think he cleaned the Trappers, if I remember correctly. He cleaned the Trappers, did 3 wounds to the Yetis, and 4 wounds to the Bruiser, so not bad as a start. My turn 1, my plan was to minimize turn 1, but then to push forward to make sure I can kill some stuff. So I move forward with mercenaries. Obviously I'm here out, but I can still shoot at the Bastion unit. The rest move forward as well. Cannon didn't move at all to make sure I can shoot at the War Machine. And then I decided to take out of the forest both units, because if I move all these guys in range, then I might as well move them also in a position where they can be shot, but then my opponent has some choices to make. The Bruiser on the right push a little bit. Then in the magic phase I'm able to get Totemic Summon. Then I get Swarm of Insect off on the Rocket Battery, do a couple of wounds, and my Totemic Summon will be able to breath and kill the War Machine, which is a very good news for me. But the cannon in return misfire 2 and won't be able to shoot for the rest of the game, which is bad news. His turn 2, and yeah, with the shooting I did a couple of wounds against the Bastion. His turn 2, he pushes forward with the Bastion, he uses this piece of chaff to chaff my units. He take 1 wound from the traps, but no panic check, and he was able to double chaff, so chaff the Bruiser and chaff the Tribesman as well. He moved for, the Chariot took, I gave him a 12 rerollable. I wanted to see if he wants to take it, and depending how well he rolls, that could mean I can get an early charge and maybe kill that thing on the flank, which could be interesting for me because I think I have decent chances when I charge against him. Or I could even move maybe out of arc, threaten him. So I thought that was interesting, but yeah, he failed to charge obviously and stumbled a little bit forward. Then the rest, he turned around the chariot to look at me, make sure if my totemic goes eating the Titan Mortar, he can charge me in return. In the magic phase, I dispelled the flaming sword to avoid him shooting hard at my bruiser. He still did a couple of wounds against the Yetis and against the bruiser as well. 3 wounds against the bruiser. And he was able to get a real turn off on the war machine maybe, just to make sure if I charge him I don't break him. I think something like that. Not sure. My turn 2. Charge the chaff with tribesmen because I have to get rid of it, and I just move them sideways a little bit, move forward with mercenaries to threaten him. Basically that if he wants to charge me I can get a counter charge off. I'm still quite far away from him and I want to get some shots against this anointed. These guys stay a little bit in the back. I don't want to get any charge here on the flank and lose some pieces here on the flank because it's quite sensitive. And then I move forward with the cannon just to make sure I make some cover, possible counter charge if he wants to come against me. And yeah, here also Yetis are in place to counter charge in case he decides to come with the Bastion. I think I should be able to hold with this full unit of mercenaries. That shouldn't be a trouble. And yeah, I always keep my cat quite far away because he has cascading fire, so I don't want to lose the cat early on. These guys here on the right just back off a further 3 inch, being patient here on the right. There is no rush to go to the field. In the magic phase, I got a swarm of insect against Titan Mortar and also chilling in. I did 4 wounds to the anointed. He passed the panic check on a 9. And then a close combat, bit disappointed with 2 impact hits and 8 attack on 4+3+. I did only 2 wounds, so he flee with 2 model, meaning rally at full leadership, which is a bit annoying. And he flees through here and discharges his chariot, so at least something positive. I decided to restrain because pursuing, most likely I won't catch him because he's thrift and I'm not. And then I might just end up here and then being eaten by the big unit. So I didn't want to lose them so early on. I was still quite far away from them, so I was happy to restrain and stay here at this point of time. His turn 3. So he pushes forward with a brick, turns around the chariot to move here, uses a small guy to chaff my mercenaries, which allow him to keep the Bastion within 12 and shoot at me. And basically what he made sure is, yeah, he can shoot at me with everything. So these guys, the Bastion, the Titan Mortar, plus the magic, try to diminish the big unit of Bruiser and avoid me going against the Bastion in close combat. And basically if I charge him, he will be steadfast, and then can counter charge with chariot, hobgoblin. Basically impossible for me to really charge him, so no need to chaff this unit. In the magic phase, let me check what he did. In the magic phase, he killed, I think, a couple of bruisers. Did something like, yeah, 5 wounds to the bruiser. So I have here the mage, level 4, the general. Then he killed 5 wounds of bruiser, and then the rest with shooting. He hit with the Titan Mortar, kills a guy, does a couple of wounds, then he shoot with them. Despite my chilling goal, is able to do so much. So I cast chilling goal, I think, on this unit. Yeah, this unit, I think it impact all 3, something like that, or all 4 even, I'm not sure. At least 3, maybe 4 unit. But basically, despite chilling, he was able to kill all my bruisers except the champion. So that was very surprising for me. I got some very hot dice here. So yeah, I passed the panic check on a 9 rollable, obviously. At least that was that. But yeah, I was surprised to... It's turn 3, I have no bruiser anymore. Despite at the beginning I had 10 of them. So that was a big surprise. My turn 3. So basically I moved the character back in the mercenaries to form a new Death Star. Bruiser champion move back from here, 12 back. These guys, they just... Let me check. They just move back 3. The Bruiser, because it's 3 now on the right, they push. Keen Eater still doesn't come on the board. And the Totemic Summon charge the War Machine. I had the choice. I could charge the Chaff, charge the War Machine. Not possible, unfortunately, to charge the War Machine and then overrun on the Chaff. The overrun was only on the Chariot. But still, not so bad for me. So I decided to take that. So charge the War Machine and try to overrun on the Chariot. Consider the fact that the War Machine did hurt so much that I really wanted to get rid, and it's worth much more points than the Chaff. So that was a little bit the idea, the reasoning behind. I took a charge with the cannon against the Chaff piece, move these guys back, just make sure I stay put here and I defend well my piece of train. And then obviously I will try to threaten the piece of train on the later stage of the game. In the magic phase, I cast a Chilling, also got another Totemic Summon somewhere here in the middle. And yeah, that was it. Close combat, I killed the Chaff, I killed the War Machine, and I overrun on the Chariot. And yeah, nothing else. His turn 4. Very smart move here to chaff me. I didn't think it was possible, but he made it possible, so he went through and then was able here to chaff my front to avoid me charging this big unit. So here we can question the choice of me going against the War Machine rather than the Chaff. Maybe to clean the Chaff would have been a better idea, just to force him then to find some other solution to be able to push me. So yeah, smart done by him to use twice the Chaff to chaff me twice. So well done. Basically this gives me an option, but not so interesting option, to charge with the Frost in the flank, overrun against the Bastion, but then yeah, I might face some counter charge and stuff. Might be way too dangerous for me to try this kind of solution. He took the charge with Vassal block against my cannon. I had some flee pass, no problem. The cannon flees here. He redirects against these guys, they flee as well. So he just failed charge, and the Chariot moved back to protect the piece of train against my upcoming bruises. In the magic phase, I used Binding Skull against 2d6 strength 4. He did 2 wounds against my lone bruiser, and another 5 wounds to the mercenaries between shooting and magic. So yeah, unbelievable. The range damage output that he does is just crazy. My turn. Yeah, I didn't kill the Chariot. I think, if I remember correctly, I did nothing and he did like 2 wounds to me, lost by 1. I think it was like that, and he stick on a 8 rerollable, I guess. And he reform as well. So my turn 4, what did I do? So here's some luck. I rally on a 7, no reroll. Here I rallied the cannon, no problems. My Kineator finally decide to come on the board. The Bruiser on the right push a little bit, but still stay quite far away from the Chariot at the moment. Here in combat, and here I just turn around to shoot at them, but no rush at all. I position myself to make way for the cannon, also to be a threat here on the left. And this guy continued to move to the left, try to protect him the best I could, but couldn't do much better than that. I could have maybe put slightly different my unit, to put the unit Yetis too wide, just to angle slightly more the Frosty to protect a little bit better maybe the movement of the Bastion with the Frost. I think there was some better option to make it really perfect. In the magic phase, nothing significant happened. Close combat, he kills me this time, and that's it. His turn 5, so it turn around the Anointed. So basically my idea with the Kineator was to put some pressure on the left to make sure he cannot come forward with the Anointed. So he just turned them around to make sure I cannot charge him in the back. He pushes forward with the Bastion, uses that to protect, reform them to protect the piece of train. Basically I can try middle charge with the Bruiser, hoping I can stick. These guys can try long charge, but it's getting quite difficult to get into the piece of train at the moment. Yeah, and the rest didn't move much with the bunker, just to make sure I cannot charge him at the moment. And that was it. In the magic phase, he killed my remaining bruiser and did that's it. I think he did another, yeah, he killed 2 mercenaries this time with all the shots and stuff. So again, this hurts, and yeah, it's just too risky for me to charge him. So in the range, this short range damage battle, it's not in my favor. Basically, I lost too quickly my big unit, and now I'm depleted. But still, I have some nasty character in here, so I don't think he can really charge me without any risk. My turn 5. So basically I reform them to protect my piece of terrain, making sure I cannot wheel around. The only way he can go into my piece of terrain with the bastion is charge me, break me. If he doesn't break me, because I still have a mage, champion, a BSB, a great can, and one guy in the back. So basically it's 6 attack here, 6 attack here, 5 attack here, and 3 attack, 3 attacks. So it's still 20 plus attacks of close combat going before him because of the Frosty. So I don't think he can really come into combat. It's a long charge for the chariot. And if he doesn't break me, then I get 1, 2, 3 counter charge. So basically too risky for him to go here. Obviously I have to use the Yeti to shield me against them charging me. And then I move around with the Keen Eater just to threaten the back if he doesn't break me. Make sure I have general BSB on the Yetis, they might stick, and then I push with the Bruiser out of arc of the chariot, but basically if he charge me, then it's a free pass for them to score, so I don't think he will be able to do it. And Totemic move forward out of arc of the chariot, but doesn't contact him now. In the magic phase, I got break the spirit off, I guess, and also with shooting I got 2 wounds on the chariot, which is, yeah, not bad. Might kill him next turn, maybe, but my opponent can hide him behind the impassable, obviously. And the rest of shooting didn't do anything significant, so let's move to turn 6. So my opponent put in place great protection of his piece of terrain, chariot here, reform them, basically the bruiser cannot score. These guys, I need to break one of these 2 units to score, basically, that's the way it goes. And then this guy charge me, this guy just make sure that the Keen Eater cannot charge here, and he hid the chariot behind just to make sure I cannot kill him next turn. In his magic phase, he got Flaming Sword off on the bastion, shot me but doesn't kill everybody, just did another couple of wounds on my unit, but that was it. And here I stuck in combat. It didn't roll well, I rolled pretty well and I was able to stick, so this was surprising for me. And then let's move on to my turn 6. So quite interesting, a couple of things happen. So first I noticed the fact that the BSB could charge out and contact the flank. Meaning, it's interesting because if I get BSB plus them off, I have a good chance of killing the chariot or breaking him. Because it's a charge, it's a flank, it's a BSB. And then it's 5 attack poison, offensive 6, strength 5, and at least 2 of these guys, maybe 3. So 2 impacts, here also D3 impacts and a couple of attacks. So I have a very good chance of breaking him. So he decides, after I charge with them, he decides to flee. He flee over there in the front of my totemic beast that is just going to eat the chariot. So the totemic beast eats the chariot. Then I redirect the charge with them on the flank of the bastion. No problem, it's a small charge. And then I try to charge with my Frosty as well, which is a 9 Swift Stride, because I'm full, I have all my health points. I think the likelihood that he kills me, yeah, it's not high. Yes, he has Flaming Sword, but it's not a lot of attack. And then he has the Crush. He could kill me. But even with that, if I go before, do a couple of casualties, I might stick and then I get the secondary with them. So I try that, fail charge with him, they go alone on the flank. So basically I have a charge, a flank, a big flank. My opponent has +7, so I'm -4. So I was expecting to do 1-2 wounds more than him, because I still have 12 attack, +3 impact, +3 stomp. So do like 2 wounds more than him, and then on several rollable, I get the scenario, which would be really nice. So yeah, close combat, the Yeti stick, which is again a surprise, very nice. And these guys, they fluff, they do nothing. I get magic 0 buff or debuff, nothing at all. Meaning they are naked, and then I do nothing to me, so I lose by 4. It's 5 rollable, I fail, so I break, and he even catches me, so he get the point for them. So yeah. That's how it is. I tried it. I think it was worth it. Maybe I could have done slightly better by... I thought about it after, but if I would have charged maybe with that one first, then the BSB... Basically, if he flees the first charge, then I'm free with this unit to maybe go and charge the bastion. And maybe it's worth it. at this point of time to say, okay, fuck it, let's go with this Death Star plus them in the flank. It's likely that I hold and I get the scenario, and that's it. So I think the best decision would have been charge them, maybe stick, maybe not. If he stick, then I charge with the BSB, and if he flees like that, and then I can send Totemic Summon here in the back, and I get a better chance to stick this combat. So I think overall the order of the charges was slightly wrong in this case. Okay, it ended up being a tie on the secondary, and it ended up being 8-12 on the score. So here, very interesting, this is the sheet from our coach. Basically, you have here the estimation at the beginning after the pairing process, which was slightly in our favor. If you put that up, everything together, it was slightly in our favor. And basically, if you check in most of the cases, except in Xavier cases where he went up from a 6 to a 9, the rest of the cases, basically, we either hold the score or it went down, like Dim 11-5, me 11-8, Paul 12-10, 12-11, 8-6. We lost a couple of points here and there, and at the end we just lost 70-90, but we weren't that far away. No big losses, close battles, so we were really close to getting something better. And I think we can have some small regrets, like in my case, some better small adjustment at some point in time, some micro details that could have changed the outcome of some battles, and then maybe get something close to a tie. But the attitude on the table, we play very solid, I think, on all table, and that was the right way to approach this round, I think. Post-game analysis. In hindsight, quite happy about my choices: side, terrain, terrain to defend, and deployment. No big opportunity for each of us to go in a big CC. I think it would have been too risky. Except maybe the turn 6, like I explained for me. Range output, clearly in ID advantage, so I think my estimation was slightly optimistic. It should have been a 9 rather than an 11, because he has so many damage from distance that hurts, and I wasn't able to give him harder choice. He was able to shoot too much with the Bastion without being in trouble, and I think here I could have done slightly better. Double chilling in the spell selection, I think that would have been a good choice. Maybe not take like Break the Spirit and take double chilling just to shut down, because after I've dealt with the war machines, turn 3 I guess, I can just then use chilling to slow down a little bit his output. Yeah, a very crazy turn 3 range output. Killed 6 bruiser, which is a lot. Then I had no chance to be aggressive anymore. It was quite difficult for me after that. Try to defend the best I could. I should have kept the bruiser longer in the forest. I think there was no rush to go them out of the forest. Especially I took them out of the forests quite forward, but then the mercenaries were still quite in the back, and then he was just able to shoot at the bruiser, but then still be quite far away from the mercenaries, so I could have kept them slightly longer in the forest, I think. Late opportunity, nice opportunity at the secondary objective. I could have hold and claim an 11 victory. I think that would have been totally possible. So my game plan wasn't bad at all, I think. Yeah, hard to push my list. I have some very solid combat element. Even with losing the bruiser, I still had a lot of units on my left to make very hard for my opponent to push me. And yeah, overall we're quite solid on all tables, so that's a positive sign for the rest of the tournament. But except Xavier, nobody was able to really overperform the estimation, and that's why we lost a little bit against Poland. But still not a big loss. We're still quite hopeful about our chances to do well in this tournament after this round. So yeah, that was it, guys, for this first battle report. Talk to you soon for a new battle report, the number 2 against Denmark. Bye bye.